story inspired by the atmosphere of The Conjuring. The haunting of Blackwood Manor. The Blackwood family had just moved into their new home, an old, sprawling manor nestled deep in the woods, miles away from civilization. The house was a fixer-upper, but they were excited for a fresh start. It was rumored to be built in the early 1800s and had a dark history, but the Blackwoods shrugged off the warnings from the locals. After all, it was just superstition, right? Not long after moving in, strange things started happening. It began with small, almost imperceptible occurrences: lights flickering, doors creaking open on their own, and a constant cold draft in certain rooms. The youngest daughter, Lily, was the first to feel it. She started talking about a friend she had met in her room. At first, her parents thought it was just her imagination, but when Lily described her friend, a pale, gaunt woman with sunken eyes, they grew uneasy. Things escalated when Lily's mother, Sarah, started hearing whispers in the dead of night. At first, she thought it was the wind, but soon the whispers turned into voices, calling her name in a hushed, raspy tone. One night, while lying in bed, she felt something cold and heavy pressing down on her chest, as if invisible hands were holding her down. She couldn't scream or move, only gasp for breath until it suddenly stopped. The family began to notice shadows darting through the halls at odd times, always just out of sight. Doors would slam shut, and the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the manor, even when no one was there. The temperature would drop drastically in certain areas, especially around the old cellar they had never dared to explore. One evening, while searching the attic for old furniture, Sarah found an ancient, dust-covered journal. It belonged to a woman named Abigail Blackwood, the previous owner of the manor. The entries detailed how she had fallen into madness after her daughter mysteriously disappeared in the woods behind the house. The last entry mentioned her attempts to summon her daughter's spirit back, using dark rituals. Disturbed, Sarah took the journal downstairs, but as she descended, the entire house seemed to come alive. Lights flickered, walls groaned, and a deafening shriek echoed through the halls. The air turned thick, heavy with a malevolent presence. In a panic, Sarah ran to the living room, where she found her husband and children huddled together, terrified. Suddenly, Lily pointed to the doorway. "She's here," she whispered, eyes wide with fear. The family turned, and standing in the doorway was the woman from Lily's description, pale, hollow-eyed, and watching them with an unnerving stillness. The ghostly figure slowly lifted her arm, pointing directly at Lily. The room plunged into chaos as objects flew off shelves, windows shattered, and the entity lunged toward Lily. Her parents tried to grab her, but an invisible force ripped them apart. In the midst of the turmoil, Sarah remembered something from the journal: Abigail's final words: "Only through fire can the curse be broken." In a desperate attempt, Sarah grabbed a candle and set fire to the journal, hoping to end the haunting. The flames spread quickly, engulfing the room. The spirit screamed in agony, its form distorting and flickering as the house groaned in protest. The family barely made it out as the entire manor was consumed by the blaze. As they stood outside, watching the flames dance across the sky, Sarah realized something chilling. Despite the fire, she could still hear faint whispers promising that the Blackwood Manor would never truly let them go. And as the smoke rose, a shadowy figure could be seen standing at the window, watching them leave.